In this video, I'm going to talk about how to use Moodle to check if students have worked through an assignment and whether they've done an assigned reading. The first question that I ask them is designed to prevent students from cheating by taking the quiz from outside the room where all the other students are sitting. So I run the quiz in the first 10 minutes of the tutorial session, and here in question 1 I say I am taking the quiz in the presence of the other students, etc., or I am not attending the quiz in person. So what this question is designed to do is to make it clear to them that they must be in the room. They must get the quiz password from me, the teacher, and it's not appropriate for another student to send them the password by SMS message. So you must also look at Moodle's online functions to count the number of students taking the quiz to make sure it matches the number of students in the room. And if you then do catch the student, they should not have lied on this question. Obviously, this makes it much more difficult for them to say that they innocently took the quiz remotely and thought that was all right. And since I've instituted this question, I've never had the problem of students trying to take the quiz remotely. So that's question 1. I'm going to show you another question in the middle of the quiz. So they were given a worksheet to do some assignments in Excel, and the topic of endogeneity in regression models is a tricky one, and I think they're unlikely to get this right unless they've worked through the sheet. So here the question says, in the context of regression analysis, what is the endogeneity problem? I have 4 options which are reasonably plausible. Option C is the correct one. A regression model has an endogeneity problem when it is argued that the explanatory variable is not really affecting the dependent variable, but that it is part of, endogenous to, some other variable. And as I'll show you later, this set of 4 options is randomly shuffled. So if a student happens to be sitting next to somebody they feel is very bright or hardworking, and they are tempted to copy the screen to select the same radio button, the shuffling of the options will make that harder because the same answer is not on the same part of the screen. So here I am. I'll show you another question. Question 10. Now here they've actually had to read a text by a well-known economist, and I'm checking whether they've done the reading. Does the author believe that corruption can be beneficial in countries where the bureaucracy is slow? Select one. Here I have the student answering incorrectly, saying the topic was not mentioned, and we'll see what happens when we press submit. Then I have a couple of questions at the end which I think improve my student evaluation scores. Every week when these tests come up, I ask them to select one of these options. So far my attitude to the course can be described as strongly dislike, dislike, neutral, like, strongly like. And as you can see with this Likert scale, the options are in a natural order. So for this question, I do not have them randomly shuffled. I preserve the order which has the significant options going from strongly dislike to strongly like. And then at the end, I have a text box. If you have any suggestions for improving the course, please write them below or just say no response. And I have this imaginary student saying it's hard work, but the course is great. So let's now pretend we're completing the quiz. Select next. Submit all and finish again. And they get an immediate score. They get a grade. This person got 13 out of 14 questions correct. And I want to scroll down to look at what the response is where the student answered question 10. I've programmed this question so that not only do they get the score immediately, so this student can see that he or she got the answer wrong, the topic was not mentioned, but I quote a sentence from the text which explains why it's wrong. So the text from the assigned reading saying, I find that corruption lowers private investment thereby reducing economic growth, even in subsamples of countries in which bureaucratic regulations are very cumbersome. So typically what happens is the student might spend 6 out of 10 minutes actually completing the quiz. They press the submit button, and then in the last 4 minutes, typically you see them looking at these quotations. So the quiz is not just an assessment process, it's also a learning process. And then I leave the quizzes open till the end of semester so that they can review these for the short answer part of the final exam. Okay, that's all for now.